Hey guys, so for today's shave, we're doing a head shave. I do have some crap on there from my sunglasses. I just got back from a road bike ride. I've been doing pretty good. I have about a day's worth of head growth. Razor of choice, this is the third use for the Rocnel. Focus isn't great on an iPhone 8. But beautiful razor. You've seen this in a couple of my videos. This is again third use. Wizamet blade. I really like the Wizamet blades. I haven't bought like a full sleeve of them yet, just because I still have like 100 and some Gillette, not Gillette, the Astor Greens, which I really like. I've been using those for like 12 years. I have Gillette Nosets that I found out about maybe 3 months ago. I got like a little 5-pack of them, loved them, bought 100 of those. And maybe 5 or 6 months ago, the other blade I really enjoy is the feather. It's really sharp, but the feathers seem to not last me very long. Like I get 2 or 3 shaves, and they seem kind of finicky in some of my razors compared to the Gillette Nosset and the Astor Green. I can put those blades in any razor, and they're phenomenal. But a guy was selling a couple packs of It's like, I don't know, I had to count, but it's probably over 100 feather blades, and it came with that, a PAA cube. It came with some soap that I wanted to try. It was SB, the 70th anniversary. It came with a bunch of stuff for like 40 bucks, so it was really cheap. The whole bundle was cheaper than what the SB soap in itself costs. So I have a bunch of feather blades. So I don't know. I love the Gillette Nosets. I still have a couple more left in some sample packs I've gotten. I really want to buy 100, but I'm like, man, do you need 100 of the Astor Greens? Do you need 100 of the Gillette Nosets? And you have like 100 feathers. Do you need a fourth blade? I don't know, but I've been using that in this. I haven't tried any other blade in it. I think today we're going to go start at number 2. The first day I tried it, I did number 3, which was going good until I nicked myself in the back, but it's weird because, again, my wife says that there's no cut back there. I shaved yesterday, nothing to be open, no cut. But yesterday I decided to do a number 2. So I'm going to do a number 2 as well today. Again, I kind of feel weird about having an adjustable razor and only going up to a setting 2. I don't know, the whole point of an adjustable is you have adjustable, from 1 to whatever. If I'm only using 1 and 2 setting, is it worth having such a nice razor? I don't know. It is super smooth though, and it's well balanced. It looks bulky, and if you read it, it's like 141 grams, but it's not. It's so well balanced between the head and the handle that it doesn't feel like 141. It feels like 100 grams. Sorry if you hear that. That's my puppy. I have to turn the AC off because the AC is right behind me and it's kind of loud. So the dog's getting a little grumpy. So if you hear him, it is what it is. I also have the music playing. I usually don't do that, but I want some music today. So that's enough about the razor rant for right now. I'm going for Declaration Grooming Peaches and Stream. It's been a while since I've used this one. It's a great any time of the year scent because it's really great peaches with something kind of eerie, creepy in the background. Almost kind of cold smelling it, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if it's mentholated or not. I don't think it is. Again, I'm not big on telling you the ingredients or anything like that. I guess I could look those up if it's really a big thing in the future for people. But it's pretty cool. It comes with like an actual piece of tape that says Peaches and Scream. Hopefully, I'm really hoping he comes out with this again this year. I don't know if I'll need another one, but Here's what the pour looks like, and it's really, really soft. A lot softer than I remember. I gotta look at some of my other declaration grooming. I don't remember them being that soft, where I can literally push it in with nothing. We have the matching splash as well. I do have a backup of this. When I buy something like this, and I'm like, oh, you know, they kind of came out with it. I don't know if they're going to come out with it again next year. I usually buy 2. Sometimes I buy 3 or 4. And this is a great one. We are going to use the PA cube again for the pre-shave. The reason being, just like last time, I have a couple of these cubes and I kind of want to start downsizing. I don't need to have 3 cubes in a drawer. So I'm trying to use it more often. And I'm trying to downsize my collection as is. You know, living in an RV, I'm kind of at that point where I could add a little bit more, but not a whole lot. And you can see like how little bit of the cube I put on there, and look how much it blooms up with some water. So yeah, today I've been looking at road bikes and e-bikes. I've been thinking about buying a bike because you know I'm moving to Key West, and there it's a small island, small streets. There's a lot of tourists and they don't know how to drive there. So it's kind of a pain in the ass to drive a car there, especially if you're going to like downtown to go walk around or go to the restaurants. I say downtown, it's a couple miles. The whole island's only like I think 7 miles long or something like that. And it's hard to find parking sometimes. There's certain parking that's free for locals, so I would get that, but they're hard to find, and the rest of the parking is like paid. So I've been thinking about getting an e-bike or a road bike. 1, for while I'm there. 2, it's a good way to get some more exercise. Since I've been retired, I've been trying to figure out other ways besides my distance running and my calisthenics of trying to get more exercise in, but without it feeling like exercise. So I thought a road bike would be kind of cool, way for me to kind of go explore things, get a little exercise in, but a little faster than me exploring when I run. I am hydrating, and for today's brush, and we have it soaking in our Investing Like a Boss Vanguard mug. That's the PF side of me. And it's this beautiful, man, everything looks so dark on this, but it's a much brighter, and it doesn't help that I don't have really great lighting right here. Does that help? No, that doesn't help. Yeah, I don't have great lighting today in the RV. Maybe if I open up some windows, I don't know. But it's a B14. And I've only seen, I think this is the second one I've seen. My friend Tanner bought it. Beautiful brush, and he decided to sell it, and I knew I had to have it. I love B14. It's still probably my favorite knot out of any knot I own. And this in the Washington shape, so it's half Jefferson, and half Washington. It's actually a really nice grip to it. I do think some of the Declaration grooming pours, though, probably wouldn't look good in this shape. And I always feel like it's a hit or miss. Like, I always don't know like which to go with. Getting a little bit of the tips wet to start dripping a little water in there, just to kind of get it a little wet. As you can see, I don't need to put a lot of water in there, though, to bloom it because it's so soft. But yeah, I've been back and forth on certain pours that I'll see. I'm like, man, do I get it in the Jefferson? Do I get it in the Washington? And I don't have any Washington, so I don't even know how comfortable they are. I'm sure they are, though. I haven't really had too many brush handles that were super uncomfortable, especially from Declaration grooming. And already I can smell the scent on this. It's not super, super strong. Like, it's not like A&E strong or some of the Southern Witchcraft strong. Um, I don't think Declaration Grooming is known to have super bold, super strong scents, but, you know, 10 being the highest, I would give this probably a 7, so it's up there. But yeah, I've been looking at bikes, and, you know, they range, you know. I mean, like a road bike, I've looked at some at like REI and some other stores that range from like $1,000 for your basic setup. And, you know, I've seen some all the way up to 10, 15 grand. You know, being an experienced rider, it's not even about the money. I don't think it would be smart for me, and I think we're going to start with that. I don't think it would be smart, and we're going to use this as a little extra pre-shave. We don't like to waste. But I don't know if it would be smart for somebody like me that's inexperienced, doesn't really know how to ride yet, doesn't know if I like it that much to spend 10, 14 grand on an e-bike. I mean, not an e-bike, a road bike. You know, money's not really a factor as much as it is value. You know, if I'm not using it every day, if I don't value it, um, I'd rather get something as cheap as possible, use it for a while, figure out if I like it, if I enjoy it, if I value it, and then you can upgrade it, right? I was looking at some of the e-bikes as well. Put a little water on the tips. We're going to spread this out and we'll see how this goes. Oh yeah. But you know, that's the price points for the road bikes. For the e-bikes, um, you know, there's some pretty cheap ones, but the two that I kind of was like, hey, I want either this e-bike or that e-bike, ranged from, depending on the sale, it was about $3,500 for the one, and it's called a Hyper Scrambler. It's made by the company Juice, which is ironic. They're out of San Diego here, but you can't go and buy the bike there. If you even buy it online, you can't pick up the bike in person there. They still have to ship, and they still charge you like $200 for shipping. But you can go there in person and schedule a test ride if they have the bike available to test ride. Weird business. Like, I don't know why I can't just go there and pick it up if I'm local. Like, why would your company make the bike there just to then ship it out from there when I could locally come by and buy and save a couple hundred on the shipping? But whatever. They do have a lot of sales, so it's $3,500 for the bike, but they'll have a lot of sales where they'll have it for like 28 or 30 or $3,000, and that seems pretty pricey. But this is kind of a top of the line e-bike. It goes about 70 to 100 miles because it has 2 batteries on it, which I thought was really cool. And if I get an e-bike, I don't want to have to be charging it all the time, especially living in an RV where a lot of the times I might not be on hookups. And even at Key West right now, the place that I currently have scheduled for us at the campground isn't a hookup campground. They have hookups, but they're already all sold out for the next like 6 months. So we have what you call a dry camping spot, which is basically, it's just a spot. And it's on the beach, so it's really nice. It's right on the water in Key West. And it's not super expensive. It's about the same price as here in San Diego. And luckily I have full solar, so, you know, I live usually 6 months out of the year off-grid. So I don't need the hookups. But at the same time, I don't know how much energy usage what e-bike uses, so, you know, the less I have to charge it, the better, especially if I'm at a campsite or if I'm out in the middle of nowhere where I'm just relying on my solar. My solar's great. It works great for us. But when you start adding in stuff like you have to charge an e-bike, plus you're charging your laptop, and maybe it's not a fully bright, great day for sun, this time of the year, it's getting into the fall, winter, you get a lot less solar than you do during the summer, and that's because the peak of the sun, the rays shining down, all that kind of stuff. But my point is that that's a really good e-bike. It has really good features. Like it has an alarm system. I think we're good. It's a little dry though. I know I'm ranting a lot right now, but yeah, this cream soap is smelling great right now. The brush is working great. I like B14 because it sprays very easily. It's super soft. It has gel, but it's very low gel. Not enough to where it makes it hard to pick up the soap or that you'd really notice it much. And it feels like a cloud. Like you feel it a little bit, enough to kind of, so you get a good little exfoliate, but it's super luxurious and soft. That's why it's still on my top. And I think it's also on my top because there's so many cool handles that B14 has come out with, like this one, Blood of Kings 2.0. Beautiful red glitter. It's gorgeous. You know, it reminds me a lot of Varlet XD, but with the Varlets, you don't really get some cool handles like this. I'm not saying I don't like the Varlet handles, because I'm still looking for a 32mm XD. If you have one, I'd buy it. I have a 27, which feels small, and I have a 29, which feels great, but I want something a little bigger, because I'm a dome shaver. Putting a little water on this. We're on level 2. And yeah, so the other, oh yeah, smooth sailing, Dave. The other e-bike that I've looked at is called a Grizzly, and it is also about 3,500, and it doesn't go as far between charges. It goes probably, I think it's like 50 to 70 miles, which is still pretty good. But the big sell on that one is it's dual suspension. It has fatter tires. So on that one, it's dual road. You can go on pavement, and you can literally take it in the sand on the beach or off-roading, and it will have no issues because of the suspension on it and the tires and the build-out. So I really like that part of it. But then I've also kind of thought to myself, like, if you get an e-bike, I'm not really going to get probably much exercise out of it because I'm probably just going to use the e-bike portion, right? In e-bikes, you can pedal or, you know, use a pedal assist so you get even more miles out of it. And, you know, a lot of times these e-bikes, when they say their range is 70 miles, that's with the pedal assist. When it says the lower end of 50, that's just the e-bike battery, in case you didn't know. That's how they get you. But ooh, yeah, see, that still feels a little sore back there. But I kind of thought to myself, if you get an e-bike, Dave, like, you're probably not going to be pedaling it that much. You're going to be more just e-biking it. So, you know, I wouldn't be getting as much of a workout, for one. Two, I could be wrong, but I kind of feel like long term, the e-bike has more parts that could break on it too. You know, living in Key West or even here in SoCal, you tend to get like a lot of rust because of the salt in the air, and I'm sure it's going to be the same thing there. So I kind of have to be cognitive of that as well. Upkeep on these kind of things. You know, whether that is buying a bike cover for it, slash making sure it's always lubed, cleaning it often so you get the sand and, not really the sand, but the salt and the air off of it. And so far this is just a smooth sailing shave. It is a little sore back here though, where I cut myself a couple days ago. I mean, again, my wife said there's no cut that she can see. Well, I don't know, maybe she's blind. Anybody else have a blind wife? But back to the topic. So, you know, the e-bikes are a little bit more pricey because if I buy one of those, I wanted the kind of the top of the line because I want something that can go the distance, right? You know, I could buy something for like $1,000, $1,500, but it's only going to go like 20 or 30 miles. Uh, and that's just not very, I mean, that's a good distance, but I felt like I wanted a little further, especially because, like I said, I don't know the whole, how much energy they're going to take to charge on my solar setup. I mean, I know I can charge them. I just don't know how much, you know, how much are they going to use 30% of my battery every time I have to charge them? So I was kind of leaning towards the road bike more, and, you know, I've been looking online, and then today I was on base here, going to the store to go look at some flip-flops. My flip-flops are kind of getting destroyed, which is kind of crazy because they're not cheap flip-flops, and I've only had them for like a year. And as I walked in the store, they had some road bikes, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know they had road bikes here. And I showed it to my wife, and I was like, oh, we should go over there and fucking check it out. And one of them that looked really, really nice, it was red, beautiful color, had a clearance marker on it. And I was like, oh, I wonder how much this one is. And it was originally like $350 or $400, but they had it marked down to, it was like $130, $140. And I was like, oh, wow, that's not a bad deal. And as I'm looking at it, the lady that works there is like, oh, you know that's on clearance. And I was like, oh, yeah, I see it's $140. She's like, oh, no, no, it's another 30% off that. And I was like, wait, so it's like $130, $140, and another 30%? She's like, yeah. She's like, it should ring out to about $90. And $90 for a road bike is insanely cheap. Like, you can't get a road bike at Walmart for that price. And so, you know, got on the phone really quick just to kind of look to see, you know, am I being scammed at base, the base PX, the base store, right? We call it a PX, but, you know, it's basically, it's like a little store that sells, it's kind of like a little Walmart, but without food, right? Kind of store. Has a little bit of everything. Oh man, that's so nice. Scent stick strays at about a 7 throughout the whole shave so far. And so I was like, man, $90, like that's insanely cheap. Like the cheapest I've been looking at. We're gonna turn this down to a 1 now. Actually, you know what? Let's go to a 1.5. 1.5. I like that. See? You can go right in between the two Roman numerals. So you got Roman numeral 2, 1, and that anchor is your pinpoint. Now we're going to go across. But I was like, wow, 90. Like, the cheap road bike I was looking at is about $1,000. And again, I was thinking about getting a cheaper road bike. So when I say cheap, you know, some people are like, $1,000, that's not cheap, but, you know, that is cheap for a decent road bike. And $1,000 in the big scheme of things in life, to me, isn't expensive. You know, everybody's finances are a little different. You know, my finances are fairly decent. I'm retired, you know. I make enough money passively where I literally don't have to work. So for me, spending $1,000 on a bicycle is very minor in the big things of life. You know, for your finances, that might be a big expense. You know, if anybody needs help with budgeting or anything, you can always reach out to me, message me. I'll be happy, you know, to go over your budget and see if there's some places that I can show you how to save some more money. Because people waste a lot of money on stupid shit. You know, $1,000 might seem a lot, but then you have a $400 a month car payment. So, you know, Imagine if you didn't have that $400 car payment. You could buy $5,000 bikes a year. But whatever. So back to the topic. So I was like, oh wow, like 90 bucks, because I thought, well, you know, maybe I'll buy the $1,000 bike. Figure out how much I like road biking, and if it's for me, and if not, I was like, oh, you know, I'll just sell it in a few months. And yeah, you know, I might lose out on a couple $100, but you know, I should still be able to sell it for something, I figure. And I mean, I guess if not, I could always donate it or gift it too, you know. But then I recently found one that is like a mid-grade, but it has like really great reviews for the price point, and it was like 2,700. And you know, my main thing with a road bike I was looking for is something well built, something that's going to be light that I can pick up with one hand, because that's kind of big to me, especially living in an RV, because I'm going to have to move this bike often. So I want to be able to pick it up with ease. And that was really it. You know, maybe, you know, something that I obviously like the looks of it, the paint on it, you know, the color scheme. But I didn't have really a lot to go off of because I have no idea really anything about that kind of hobby. So I figured, you know, start off, learn. It's kind of like wet shaving. You know, could you go right out and buy the $550 razor? Yeah, you can, but I would suggest maybe starting off a little bit lower. You know, maybe with a $50 or $60 razor. See how you like it, and then kind of once you get used to it, work your way up. Okay, third pass. Here we come. This is my hybrid pass. You can see there's still plenty of soap in this. Plenty of soap. And I actually found a bike shop locally that has the $2,100. It's like 21 or 27 depending on the sale for the bike that I was really thinking about getting. And I like that it's at a customizable bike shop because they can size you there, they can show you how to work it. You know, if something goes bad on it, I can bring it back to them. So that was kind of an idea I had, but my wife kind of pointed out, well, like, it's nice because you're here, but as soon as we're in Key West, you know, that those type of bike stores aren't everywhere, right? They're usually like, hey, there's that one here, there's another one 2 miles away, but they're not chains. So I was like, yeah, that's kind of true. And yeah, I ended up buying that one at the base today for, it was 90 some bucks. And then when I got to the register, they were having some kind of weird sale where basically at the register they do a little scratch off for you and you could get a bigger discount on your total thing. So the girl at the register had a scratch off for me, and it was only 5%, but hey, another 5%. So I got it for like a little, like 90 bucks, maybe a little less for the bike. And we're going down to a 1. And I still don't have a helmet or anything for it. I do have, like, I bought this today too, so a water bottle for it. And this came with like a snap-on. It's really not a snap-on, but it came with a carrier for it that actually bolts in. And so far, I'm not very impressed with this. It's well built. It's insulated. I like that. It's reflective at night, so that's cool. But it's really hard to get the water out. Like, you can't squeeze it because it's so hard. But the suction thing isn't great. And, you know, maybe I'm very particular about that kind of stuff because being a distance runner, with my vests, I have, you know, flasks in them. They're not hard flasks, though, because you don't want that kind of shit rubbing against you. And those, I can just stick my hand on, pinch it with my teeth, and suck, and I can literally, like, drink and run at the same time. This, I tried doing this today on the road bike. Like, it's pretty difficult, so I might be replacing this. And this was fairly cheap. It was like 10 bucks, 12 bucks. Okay, So we're down to 1 for this next pass. But funny enough, I already had an accident with the road bike. So the road bike has locks for the pedals, as in you put your shoes in the sleeve, and then you tighten it and it locks your foot in. You know, I'm not going to go buy road shoes and road pedals where, you know, it snaps in and then you can just kick it out for your shoe. And you could take these off, but I didn't think to take them off. I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. And as I was riding it today, mind you, I was riding uphill. I don't know the gearing yet on this thing, so it's probably a bad idea to ride it where I was, because it's a super steep hill. Then there's a red light, and I caught the red light, and there was a bunch of cars that weren't really wanting to move. Or should I say they were trying to, like, push me over, even though you're a bicycle, you have the right to be in the same lane, especially here in San Diego, as them, because there's no bike lane. But they were, for some reason, trying to push me to the side, like, they were literally putting their ass in, almost touching my bike, trying to pass me. And mind you, we're at a red light. And I'm slowing down, switching the gears so that way I can pedal more, but it doesn't go as far, obviously. I don't know if that's a downshift or an upshift in gears. I'm not smart enough to know that yet. But for some reason, the bike wasn't wanting to shift that gear. For some reason, that gear, I got on it and I was pedaling and the chain kept slipping on me. So, you know, whatever, cool. Usually in that point you can stop and put your foot down. I didn't think about this shit. My feet are locked into the damn pedals. So I stop and I try to pull my foot out and I forgot they're locked in. And there I go. Bloop! Fell right freaking over on the side. Looked like an idiot, I bet, but whatever. Even had a car on the other side of the lane ask if I needed help. So what did I get out of that is, luckily I didn't do any damage to the bike. But I will say, on the handlebars, they're wrapped with a like cloth-like material. And it's just to make it softer when you're holding that or leaning against it. And man, this is smooth. Like, I don't even feel the blade, but I know it's cutting. I can hear it cutting. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that cutting or not. I'm still kind of afraid to go against the grain on top of my head. Most razors I can't do that with, just because I do have hair. Like, I shave my head because I want to shave my head. I have a full head of hair. And your top of your head's very sensitive. And so, like, with me actually having hair going against the grain up there, it's just really, really sensitive. So usually the only way I can get really close is just going across like that on both ways. So I go across this way and across that way. But yeah, I scuffed up a little bit of that soft wrap that's wrapped around the handlebar, which is cool. Like, it sucks because I just got the bike, but at the same time, like, that kind of, I was pissed at first, to be honest, but then the more I sat here and thought about it after like an hour or two, I'm like, you know what, that's why I decided to get this $94 road bike versus the $2,700, because imagine if, like, I mean, the $2,700 road bike didn't even come with pedals. A lot of the more expensive, nicer road bikes don't come with pedals. You gotta, like, when you go to the store, you gotta also buy a set of pedals. But most of those type of pedals don't have that lock-in thing that this does. But, you know, it shows me, like, I'm learning, making mistakes. It's good to make those mistakes on a cheaper bike versus a couple $1,000 bike. We're just going to do around the ears really good. That's good. Okay, and I've been using cold water just because I'm a little hot. It's not super hot today, but again, I just got done road biking, and I kept going, even though that happened. That happened in like the first quarter mile. Ooh, there's a couple spots right here. I think you can hear that. Okay, now I'm just chasing the dragon. So yeah, and it's one of those things too where like I told my wife, like, you know, if I don't like this, and even if I, you know, scuff it up a little bit, I could still probably sell it for what I just paid for. Because online they still, even at Walmart they still go for like 400 to 500 bucks for this bike, and I got it for 94 bucks. And it was already assembled, so I've already had to change out some things with that, or should I say adjust some things, like the front brake pads. One side was literally like touching the wheel the whole time, so I had to adjust that to where it's not touching the wheel. And I'm actually thinking about even uh, taking the bike to a bike shop, a customized bike shop, and having them look at that chain issue. Um, See maybe if they can adjust the gearing. And I could probably do it myself if I looked it up, but I don't want to fuck something up, to be honest. And sometimes it's just better to pay people to do things so you don't have to worry about it. I've learned that, especially like me living in an RV, I don't have all the tools. I don't have a lot of space to work on things. Like if I had a garage or a shop or a house where I had a yard, like it'd be a little different. So we'll see. I might go and take that to a shop, or I might try to do it myself. But I'm kind of running behind on time because in the next like week I will be heading to Key West. So you know, if I drop it off at a bike shop, how long is it going to take them to get it back to me? Hopefully not too long. But I figured this way they could adjust the chain, lube it up, maybe look over everything, make sure everything, all the bolts are fucking tightened, everything looks good. I might be missing something, and I'm willing to pay $100 or so for them to give me that, you know, reach around. Splash. Nice shake. I always shake my splashes. I don't know if you need to for all of them, or even any of them. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I ended up riding, I think it was like 5 or 6 miles total for the first run today. And as soon as I got home, the first thing I did, I took that locking mechanism off the freaking pedals, so that way I can't get stuck and I can't stop or do anything because I'm gonna fall over. And those are actually a pain in the ass to take off. There's 2 little bolts, but the bolts are so small and in such a weird crevice that you can't just get like a wrench in there. I had to use needle nose pliers on those bolts, which I didn't make any marks on them, but I don't usually like to use needle nose pliers on bolts. Man, that was really good. Yeah, so you listened to a little bit of my life today. I don't know, you guys like that kind of stuff more, or are you looking for more of an in-depth review on some of this stuff? I don't know, which was the highlight today, because I've already went over this one a couple times. It's my 3rd use. It's still super efficient. Man, yeah, it's super efficient and super smooth. It can be aggressive though, I guess, because like I can only go up to like setting 3. You know, maybe I need to put an Astra SP, because I think those are a little less sharp than the Wizamets. Once I get a couple more uses in with it, and see how the Astra does on the head. And you know, it might even be a phenomenal shaver for the face. I'm at like 17 or 18 days of growth now, and I'm usually a head and face shaver, but I don't know, I'm kind of liking the beard. It's at that point though where it's getting annoying because it's still growing out, and it needs to probably be trimmed and lined up, but I don't have a trimmer just because I've always shaved. So I've thought about going to a barber shop maybe and paying somebody to trim me up and line me up. But for the cost of that, like here in SoCal, that's like 20, 25 bucks. I looked at a couple places online, and it's probably nice, you know, get a hot towel and all that. But for a little bit more than that, I can buy a trimmer and do it myself. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll trim it up, but I really kind of want to use this. see how it does against 16 days of growth. But yeah, that's my story. So I got a new road bike today, less than $100, and it's usually like a $400 or $500 road bike. I could be completely wrong with that. I think some places had it for like $350, but I think the cheapest I saw was $350. The brand, it's not great, but it's not bad. It's not as good as it used to be. But Schwinn, I think that's how you say it. They're the ones that make all the gearing for the $10,000 road bikes. And they make road bikes themselves. They're probably not the best at that price point, you know, $500. The $1,000 one is probably better. But I figure, you know, I'll ride this one for a couple months, figure out, yeah, you know, do I like it? If I like it, keep riding it. But eventually, you know, sell this one or gift it to somebody, donate it, and upgrade. But I figure it's a good start. It's something, it was cheap, you know, less than $100. And I have a road bike that I can, you know, figure out what I like, figure out, you know, what works, and if I drop it a couple times, if it gets scuffed, it's not a huge issue because of how cheap it was. But, you know, appreciate you guys coming along. Let's do a quick recap for today. This was the third round for the Rocnel 22, says it on that side, L on that side, Sailor, great razor, love it. For our soap, we used Declaration Grooming, Peaches and Scream. Like I said, I'm on like a fall Halloween kick lately, and this one definitely falls into that category for me. For me, Halloween fall category is like you get that dank and dark smell, like Barrister Man Gothic. That one is like pretty dark. I loved that one last year, but man, when I opened it this year, I was like, man, this is too dark for me. So we'll see. Maybe my tastes have changed in the really dark ones. I think of Declaration Grooming Dark Fall. Like, that is a good fall scent. But then there's also, like, I think kind of like a citrusy vibe. Ones that can be considered fall Halloween. And I think this is one of them. You get, like, that citrus, but it's like an eerie citrus. Another one that I can think of off the top of my head is Southern Witchcraft, Grapefruit. I mean, just the name is cool. It has the skull on it, and it's a very citrus grapefruit blast, but then it has like this eerie, creepy scent note to it in the background. So really great, really love these. It is a little harder for me to choose my shaving soaps now as well. I usually have them all like on a shelf back there, really well organized. Like I have all the Declaration Grooming with Declaration Grooming, and then I have all the aftershave splashes in front of it. But because for the next couple of weeks to a month, we're going to be moving like every day or every 2 days till we get to Key West, it just doesn't make sense for me to have it all on the shelf, because when we move, that stuff's all going to fall over, right? Unfortunately, when you have a tow trailer, you got to pack stuff up. Some things you can leave out, like, you know, we have stuff in the drawers and all that stuff. But stuff on a shelf like that, it will fall off because it's, you know, so one little bump, boom, it falls off. So I have little crates that I put it all in. And right now, it kind of sucks because you can't see it all. And if you want one soap, it might be at the bottom and you're digging and searching for it. So right now I took out like 5 or 6 fall Halloween scents. And I think I'll be using those in rotation. We'll see. You might see more of the same ones on my rotation, maybe not. I have like 100 soaps, so I do have enough to have 100 videos with different soaps. We'll see though. I'm not sure, I just kind of say that because I'm blabbing right now. We did have a matching aftershave splash. We did use the PA Cube, and we used this beautiful Blood of Kings Declaration Grooming Jeffington B14. And we still have, look at this. This is a longer video. We're at like 44 minutes, folks. We still have some nice soap left. Oh, so good. Well, I appreciate you guys coming along. Listen to me on my road bike journey. Maybe I'll be talking more about that as I get more used to it. So yeah, I went like 6 miles today on it. My GPS running watch actually tracks, like you can do hiking on it, you can do road biking, you can do swimming, which is really cool. That's why I bought this one. But I mainly use it for running. And that 6 miles, I burned 350 calories, which I wasn't very impressed with that. That wasn't very much. But yeah, it's biking versus running. On running, I would usually burn probably close to twice that on that distance. But check you guys later.